I am stopping for a minute to make a video for a minute. It's probably going to be longer than that. I've been on a little walk. But it has seriously been so long since I last made like a proper YouTube video, because the actual last YouTube video I made was a cover, and the YouTube video before that was me talking about my experiences after I ended the relationship that I was in for 8 months. And a lot happened after that, and I have made videos since then talking about what happened, but I haven't really posted any of them, and I feel like now I kind of have more clarity on the situation. I don't know if it just doesn't feel like as relevant to talk about or why that is. Like I don't feel the need to talk about these things, but so like what happened later that week is I actually attempted suicide, and I didn't even really understand why I did it, because for me suicide has always been a very impulsive thing. I mean, it's always been a very methodical thing, not impulsive, the opposite of impulsive, very, very methodical. And this time it was very impulsive, and I didn't understand why I did that. I was in the hospital for 3 days, and I just wanted to get out of there because hospitals don't really help me. It's kind of just like the same program, and I am grateful for the experiences that I, had there, and of course, I feel that I did learn, but I didn't really open up. I know how to go through the hospital without actually talking about things, because I can't, like, share shit there. I can, of course I can, but it just, like, what's the purpose? Because, like, even just trying to share my reality and explain it to people is just, like, there's so much traction, there's so many bridges that I feel the need to gap. And yeah, but I realized it was because I was allowing someone with a soul tie that I made to bypass their emotions through me, and it was incredibly heavy, and that's why it was impulsive, and even my feed was representing this person in mind. And I also think that in a way it was like my spiritual growth and development and dying, like the ego's dying, this old sense of self that sought safety and security externally. I'd already left this version, but it was like I was trying to physically manifest that. And the space that I entered after felt like a lot of ambiguity in my life. Like I wasn't quite the new me, but I wasn't quite the old me either. And I was like in this liminal in-between space where I was trying to hold on to old ghosts that just no longer had relativity, because I understood that they are illusions. And it took me a while, I feel like, to get back on my feet, but I started to get momentum again, and I feel like going home, I went on vacation. That was an amazing experience as well. Like my younger cousin and I, we danced. We went to Universal Studios, and there was music in the center. There's this DJ booth, and she just doesn't give a fuck. She does cheer, and dance is very, very symbolic of our relationship with our bodies. Like, how comfortable are you with taking up space and using your body and, being fluid with it and expression and all these things? And I realized that it reflected my relationship with my body as well. And at first I was really shy. I was like, oh, I don't want to embarrass myself, things like that, right? All of the social conditioning. And then as I continued on, I just started dancing, and it was so much fun. I just stopped thinking about what people thought about me. And I do have a lot of self-harm scars, and so I was like, if I'm drawing attention to me anyway, I might as well turn myself into art. I mean, our bodies are already art as they exist. No one is the same, but I decided to just write lines on myself with Sharpie, and I've done this before, but I wrote all over myself, just lines from my poetry, my favorite quotes that I've ever created. And then after, I made a poem about it. I feel like, on that note, I need to make more videos of me reading my poetry. I have been more producing content on Instagram than I have been YouTube lately. Just because it takes me a proper minute to sit down, compose my thoughts, and make a video and whatnot. But yeah, I should share that. And I feel that lately, in relativity to the trip, like, I've been putting a lot of focus on wounds that I have, like considering the relationship with my grandpa and sex, because that's like the most ultimate emotional intimacy and soul expression and communion that you can get there. And I was like, this is not something I can keep putting on the back burner. Like, this is huge. I need to work on this because it's a wound that reflects my tendency to have a difficult time to receive and to believe that I am deserving of pleasure and that expression and advocating and using my voice and feeling like, I'm worth it. That and what else? Yeah, my ability to receive sex, family relationships. I don't really feel like that recognition is as important anymore once I realized, like, earlier this year, when I was super suicidal and I was like, shit, I had that breakthrough, and I was like, I can't rely on anyone to give me the answers or to give me salvation. Like, this is on me. It's not even about that. And when you put your focus on something, that's where your energy flows. And so I just kept pouring all of my energy into these wounds, which continue to affirm to myself that I'm broken, or I'm in need of healing, or I'm in need of help. And since I've developed and evolved my stages of consciousness, it's integrated. But the thing is, now it's being projected out into the physical world. And so I'm seeing these character archetypes and these relationships that mirror those wounds to an incredibly intense degree on the outside. And I've continued to engage with them and try and help, or feel like I have some obligation, because if I'm not reliable, if I'm not there, if I don't help them, it feels like I'm abandoning them. And that's representative of my past versions of self that felt like they were abandoned, that felt alone and misunderstood and confused and neglected. And so I took on this responsibility, like, I have to be there for people. And a lot of it is learning, like, I'm an empath, and so I'm naturally an alchemist, but it's more about witnessing rather than standing in the fire. And the best way to lead, like Jesus Christ did, was through example, by letting your light shine and others following it. Because when you make a decision that it's in sovereignty, that's grounded in yourself and your truth and your spirit and God, it's for the better of everyone, even if it looks like letting go of a relationship. That's another thing, is not defining it as abandonment, but letting go. It's reframing these different approaches and allowing yourself to be unpredictable and to change. And for me, it's like, I just got here. Like, I'm just making this progress, but it's happening so quick, and I'm still allowed to advance. But it's just more into action. It's less a question about what would this look like and trying to intellectualize it, because you can think as much as you want, but you can't outthink or outrun a feeling. It's that confrontation, and it's sitting with it. And a huge lesson too has been, like, sitting with that stillness. But the thing is, you can't focus on being in the present moment like that. You can't put so much focus onto being in the present moment of doing this or doing that or letting go or whatever it might be, because then you just fixate on this idea rather than allowing it to be the way that it is. Like, you can't force the tree to drop its fruit. You have to nurture it and allow it to ripen and fall naturally on its own. But I was originally planning on, moving to California July 11th, but I think I pushed the date back, and now I'm kind of, like, iffy about it, because I felt that I'd cultivated that sense of community, and that's what I'm talking when I say, like, these, different versions of myself have been integrated and pushed out into the world. And it's how you choose to engage with these dynamics and how mindful and intentional you choose to be with the language and really being present, just watching their behavior. Because there's been multiple people where it's like their energy is confusing, or it's like, I don't want to engage with it. I don't want to be the person that I am when I'm involved in this relationship. But it's like, but I kept getting caught up on all of these things that they would say or do, but it's like, no, just pay attention to their behavior, and it will tell you everything that you need to know. You don't need to lose yourself in all of this confusion, because they don't see themselves as whole. They see themselves as unworthy. They see themselves as fractions. And that's why it's like when I get caught up in all of this like unworthiness bullshit, or I need to fix on these, focus on these wounds or heal them or whatever, it's like an energy vortex. And you just need to step away from that, and like from these dynamics, and just realize like, I already am here. I already am whole. I already am enough. And stand firm on that. But I realized that like, oh, maybe why I'd pushed the date back, like I love the nature out here. I have that sense of community, things like that. But it was like, I was feeling me in Utah, and that's why. But I think that it's still very crucial that I, moved to California, and I'll be starting a challenge soon because I'm feeling some resistance. It's time for me to level up, so to speak, continue to grow, move past these things, and just being incredibly mindful about my relationships and how I show up. And a huge quote that I love, that I don't know if I created it, but I don't know if it's out there floating somewhere, is there's no rules to reality, only consequences. And so I can still choose to show up honestly and authentically and fully myself, while grounded in my own energy, without allowing myself to distort. And if people do not, respond kindly to that, or if they don't agree, or if they're immature emotionally, or they just don't understand at all, that's okay. And it's learning to accept that as well. But yeah, I'm just like, these past, I don't even know, maybe this past week or something, I was definitely pushing my boundaries. I was engaging in things even when I could hear the spirit screaming inside, being like, Ariel, you need to take a step back. You need to take this time for yourself. You're drained. You're allowing, yourself to be bypassed through other people and their circumstances and experiences and where they're at emotionally. And I'm like, I just can't do that. Like, that's not my job. Like, it is not my responsibility to repair the relationship. When people aren't able to meet you, it's because they can't meet themselves, and I need to stop guiding people through this. That's not my role. That's not my role right now. I'm not meant to be the administrator. I'm not meant to be the guide. I'm not meant to be the healer. I more want to be a memorable stranger that says something and triggers, this deeper pull towards consciousness. But yeah, I've definitely been drained and honestly just glued to a fucking screen, and a lot of spiritual hunger too, which manifests in physical hunger. So eating food that like I don't even fucking enjoy, honestly. But just being kind to my body and things, honestly, I don't even really think about my physical body as much, just because I don't feel very attached to like the physical plane. I feel like I'm moving beyond that, and even the institutionalized plane, which is why I'm feeling that calling to start the challenge. It'll be a moment before that, but yeah, I'm having the difficult conversations. I'm taking that distance for myself. I'm allowing people to respond to it. I don't feel I'm allowing this to come into fruition by realizing I don't need to explain. I don't need to decode. I don't need to, force this understanding of people and my own experiences, my own reality, my own energy. Like, I'm allowed to be sovereign. I'm allowed to be where I'm at, and without guilt or shame. That's the hugest thing. That's the hugest thing that will suck you down into the spiral, is shame. That'll get you. That will really get you. But yeah, I don't know. I've had a better day today. I think a large part of that is communicating and being honest and standing where I'm at, not trying to shape these beliefs, like just showing up as yourself. Even in those moments, even if you've been, doom scrolling all day in your fucking bedroom, it's like, no, let's take a moment to even just breathe. Let's stretch. Let's get ourselves some water. That's enough. That's seriously enough. You're doing the best that you can, and you have to believe that. You have to. It's what you choose to believe. That's where the power lies. So anyway, that's where I'm at, and I thought I would have a lot more to yap about, but I probably have more of that clarity. My thoughts aren't as well composed as I would like them to be, but I have been using a lot of words today, so sometimes my brain just starts to coast over that, and it's like, oh, okay, I'm done with words now. But yeah, so gonna have a little walk, just smoked a little cigarette, things like that, taking some time to myself, and we'll get back on it. I did a tarot reading too. Oh my god, that was huge about my relationship with my grandpa. I was like, I don't really cry, but I did cry a little bit on the second reading, and I was like, that is phenomenal. I don't feel the need to talk about that. This is my space, but if you did watch this, thank you for listening, and I very much appreciate it. And I'm wishing you guys peace and love and good vibes. Thank you.